for Warrington tonight to try and compete with the likes of Chris Hill, Cooper, Ben Murdoch-Masilo when he gets on, and obviously the likes of Ben Westwood as well.
OK, Ben Taylor blows the whistle. Stephen Ratchford will get this game underway. The Warrington Wolves attacking from right to left in their usual strip. Wigan in their cherry and white hoops. Ben Westwood, super Benny Westwood leading the way, getting in the first challenge of the night. Welcome to Warrington for what should be a white-hot occasion.
Well, Warrington will be expecting Wigan to ambush them, and Warrington will really have to take the game towards them. There's the leader for Wigan. Remember his reaction last week to Sam Powell. I've never seen him react like that. Looked under pressure along with his team. That they have been getting criticised from the terraces, and they want to put it right tonight.
Tony Clubb will take the ball into the Warrington half of the field, makes a couple more metres progress despite the presence of Darrell Clark and Ben Westwood. Ball comes back then to Jared Samet. Samet's kick is fielded quite easily in the end by Jake Mamo, a two-try appearance on his full debut last week.
Well, not only will Wigan want to make a statement when they're carrying the ball, this particular aspect of the game, defending strong and defending hard, is the forte and the hallmark of Wigan, and it has been for a number of decades. This game has been marketed on the strapline of bad blood, and if I'm a Wigan player in a Wigan shirt, that means to me that you think you're coming, or we're coming to your house and you're going to show us a thing or two about physicality, as Super Benny Westwood is trying to do there. I'd want to meet fire with fire.
Well, that's, I'm sure, what the Wigan intention is. Here now is Mike Cooper, and he gets the ball away to Deck Patton. He finds Stephen Ratchford. Ratchford's having a marvellous season so far. The Warrington full-back, he gets Warrington over the halfway line, in fact 10 metres inside the Wigan half. Patton with a high-hanging kick. And the ball is pouched safely enough by the Wigan defence. Davis.
Well, they're going to try and get out of trouble there, because the way that Warrington are defending, they're certainly getting up in the faces, they're hitting hard, working together. You can see turning the Wigan player on his back, Zach Hardaker.
Sargent's back in the side tonight, the England international. Here is Morgan Escaray, operating on the wing tonight. Sub last week against Huddersfield. Wigan keeping the ball alive here with Hardaker. Hardaker gives it again to Samet. He's outside the 40, but it's a good deep kick from Jared Samet. And this will find the whitewashed exactly the right side of the corner flag.
Well, using the speed to get them out of trouble, then Jared Samet spots that space in the right-hand corner. He kicks it on the fourth plate, knowing that if he can turn them round, build enough pressure down there Warrington's line, they could have some joy.
Ends up being a decent kick, and just rolling over the sideline allows Wigan to just get the pack together and get the defences set, but it came off the back of an offload. Wigan player was looking for somebody to run hard, react in the right manner, and the decision was made to put that kick in. Was it composure, or was it a lack of somebody willing to stick the hand in?
So Wigan here now will try and turn the screw on this Warrington side as they try and run the ball away from their own line. Toby King, he bumps off one would-be tackler, but there's two in reserve for Wigan. Down he goes under the challenge from Sean O'Loughlin. Clark is the dummy half. This is Mike Cooper. Cooper turned on his back. He'll get to his feet eventually. Will play the ball to Clark. Now it's with Chris Hill. Good defensive set thus far from the Wigan Warriors. 25 metres gained by Warrington in 4 tackles. Westwood to his feet. Clark. Yeah, there's a penalty for, was it interference in the ruck with Tommy Luluwai not clearing out, or was it offside, Stuart?
It's not clearing the ruck. It just caught the ball as the ball was coming away, and the first penalty goes to Warrington.
On the last tackle as well, Eddie. So doing all the hard work, dealing with some real strong carries from Warrington. Thomas Luluwai putting himself about in defence. I concede that penalty now, just 30 metres from the line.
So a big chance for Warrington. They let their 100% start to the season slip in Perpignan 2 weeks ago, losing 22-23. But they hit back last week, beating the previously unbeaten Castleford here, 24 points to 10. They're looking for the first points of the night against Wigan. with Westwood taking the ball forward. Gets to within 12 metres of the Warriors line. Darryl Clark is a dummy half. Goes to the right-hand side with Deck Patton. Patton trying to get through Joe Greenwood and company. He's brought down so close to the Wigan line. There is Clark. Not the best. And there's a knock-on by Blake Austin. And Wigan get the ball back. Here is Zach Hardacre.
And if Wigan come here under pressure, which I guess people are, they're talking about the performances, the results. I think they've made a very impressive first 5 minutes. They've made good ground when they've had to make possession. They've kicked intelligently and looked at it, trying to shift and stretch this Warrington side. Maybe they've got space out wide.
Blake Austin is just limping back into this defensive line. Their big signing, their marquee player, who was a bit below par in Catalan, but he was excellent last week against Castleford. Oh, and Willie Icer goes without the ball. Ben Curry has it back. There's a knock on both ways. Right, let's go down to Bill Arthur, who is on the sideline as we see that knock on again. Bill, it's a cracking atmosphere.
Yeah, right in the middle of it, Eddie. All around me, fans buzzing and the whole ground buzzing. Not quite a full house, but this big marketing effort that Barry referred to has certainly paid off. Certainly caught the mood. Wigan fans have travelled in good number. Good banter going on as well. Stand up for the champions. The cry from the Wigan supporters, going down, going down. The Warrington fans just responded.
Well, they're second bottom of the table, unbelievably, but it's a strange-looking Betfred Super League table at the moment, with both Leeds and Wigan down at the wrong end of the table. But it's early days in 2019.
That is a little premature by the Warrington fans, and those offloads that are so good and effective for Warrington. On the 2 occasions we've seen Wigan do it, they're just not quite as efficient.
That's a good carry from Darryl Clark on the back of that offload. There is Ratchford. He gets it away to Jack Hughes. Will play the ball. It's Clark again. Here is the skipper Hill. He finds Westwood. Westwood gets it wide to Patton. Further wide it goes to Austin. Wide! And a chance for Jake Marlowe. And the first try of the night for the Warrington Wolves. And Jake Marlowe, he's in rip-roaring form as Marlowe. 2 tries last week on his full debut against Castleford. And within, 7 minutes of his second starting appearance of the season, Marlowe is over in the corner again.
Well, they're clinical at that right to left shift. We look at that offload here. Darryl Clark doesn't wait about. He's got an awful lot of speed around the play of the ball. Just look at how they move the ball from one side of the pitch to the other. But this is the pass. That's a quality ball. You've got to have decent vision. You've got to back yourself when you throw that ball. And when Blake Austin gets the ball, he's looking at what the defenders are doing in front of him. And as soon as he knows that he's got enough time, he's got space outside, he releases the pass to that man, Mammo.
And I could watch that finish all day. Jake Mammo in the corner there, but I think he'll have a lot of gratitude and give a lot of thanks to Ben Curry. We heard our studio guest, Kevin Brown, talking about the angles and the lines that his back row has run. Jack Hughes, and on that occasion, Ben Curry, when we might watch it again after the kick, we'll see the 2 Wigan defenders attracted by the unselfish run of Ben Curry, and then that creates a little bit of space and a half a second, which Jake Mammo needs and uses.
Well, he's grabbed his opportunity in the last 80 minutes last week and the 7 minutes this week with both hands, with Tom Lynham on the sidelines and Mammo being preferred. Here is the opportunity then for Stefan Ratchford to score the first 2 points from his boot, and he has just pushed it the wrong side of the right-hand upright. 4-0 though, Warrington.
Well, here's that offload. Ability to keep the ball alive. Darryl Clark's involved in the tackle at one stage here. Chris Hill eventually was the one who did offload the ball. That's not the particular play, but Warrington didn't win the grand final because they couldn't score enough tries. Here's their first real chance to attack, and the player they brought in, Blake Austin, to try and make an improvement in that attack, has led on the first try pass.
So Wigan will start knowing that this is the 5th time in 7 matches that Wigan have conceded the first points this season, and in that run we include the World Club Challenge against the Roosters. This is Josh Charnley, once upon a time a Warrior. He gets the ball away nicely to Darryl Clark.
Well, he's always loitering around the play of the ball, isn't he, Darryl Clark? That's his job, but those offloads really hurting Wigan early on.
With Atkins again now. Ratchford. Here is Patton. He's inside the 40. He's gone for a 40-20. Just doesn't quite have the angle right. Morgan Escaré content to allow that ball to go over the line on the far side.
Well, a kick two from Warrington. Deck Patton saw that the space was there. He saw that Morgan Escaré was up in the defensive line. The fullback, Zach Hardacre, in a central position. He thought he'd have a goal. But who can blame him? After points, his side have completed the first set, and that's very much in the boxes to be ticked for the coach, Steve Price.
Stuart, our viewers last night would have seen a goal line dropout given for a ball that wasn't allowed to hit the grass the other side of the whitewash. We've just seen exactly the same then on the sideline, but it's a different rule.
It is different in that that rule only applies to the dead ball line. I think Escaré just managed to get his foot on the touch line before he touched the ball. So that's why it became Wigan head and feet.
Here is Luluai, who gets the ball away to Romain Navarrete. This Luluai, now Willie Iser hangs on to it okay this time. Vigorous challenge from this Warrington defence. Luluai in his, what I suppose we can call his international position tonight at hooker. It's where he won the majority of his when was it? 40 caps for New Zealand. The ball has hit the deck, but Escaré did well. But it's the turnover. For all of that, Wigan just losing the way on the last.
And Thomas Luluai will spend time both at 9 and 7 during the game with Sam Powell, who's the usual hooker for Wigan Warriors. And it's not just because of his delivery from acting half or when he's in open play. His defence is like nobody else in a Wigan jersey. I think everybody targets him thinking he's quite small in stature, but we'll see him consistently 3 or 4 times in a game rock somebody's head back.
Chris Hill to his feet. Last week was his 200th Super League appearance for Warrington against Castleford. Meanwhile, this man, Ben Perry, is just delighted to be back on the field after an horrendous run with injuries. Patton takes over this attack now, having been slipped the pass by Adkins. Little stuttering run and a cross-field run as well from Deck Patton.
Nobody pushing up to help him. He went backwards probably 5 metres then because everybody stepped back.
Ratchford goes a step forward, but they've reached tackle number 5, and they're almost on the halfway line, Warrington. Nice kick again from Austin. That just almost stands on its end, and it means that Davis has to run this ball back.
I think you look at Warrington and the way that they play this year, they're very composed, aren't they, with the ball. Last week when they played against Cass, they were outstanding. 38 sets of 6 that they had, and just 3 incomplete sets, which is incredible. They complete high, they really trouble sides, not only with the forwards, but with the backs as well.
Luluai got the ball away very quickly to Navarrete, but Warrington were on him in a flash. Luluai again. And the big man, Club, takes the ball down the middle. Now Samad will hoist the kick high. Mamo is underneath it. No problems for him, but good chase for Wigan, led by fullback Hardacre. Here is Kim. He doesn't make too much metres forward.
It's taken a dozen minutes for Wigan to get to this end of the field and really try and put some pressure on the Warrington side. They are 6 points behind and they've conceded a penalty for offside.
I think as well, the big crowd, the atmospheric crowd here at the Halliwell Jones, I think they give a little nudge to Ben Thaler, and just in case he wasn't sure, I think they were letting him know.
I think it was the touches on the far side gave him more of an edge though.
Helped by this stand shouting, they're offside!
I'm told that when they designed the stadium, they decided to put a terrace down this side of the field
Just
for exactly that.
Just for that, yeah.
Put pressure on the referee and the touch judges. This is Westwood, but we're not saying, Stu, that they are affected by all of it.
Absolutely not.
This is Clark now. Clark goes to the right-hand side and he finds Ratchford. Further wide they go to find Toby King. Down he goes on the third tackle. Ratchford, Clark. Showed it to Westwood, gave it to Cooper. Cooper gets the offload away to Westwood. Westwood then finds Jack Hughes. Bounced up. I think it was off Gildart. It'll be interesting to see what the referee gives here.
I think it was off a Warrington player. He asked a lot of questions, don't he? Look, Jack Hughes there goes in looks to tip it on to Toby King. It's Toby King who's the man who's knocked the ball forward, but the change of direction, they're very direct when they attack. Even though the ball shifted to one side to the other, it's not lateral movement when the ball carrier, they're very direct.
It's the offloading game that's going to cause problems, and we've seen it a couple of times during this season. And we think back over the last decade or so, Warrington have always been prepared to throw those offloads. They haven't always been of the highest quality. Well, so far in 2019, and we've had 15 minutes almost to judge them on this in this match, it's of the highest quality.
Luluai again as Sargentson plays the ball to him. Here goes Gildart down that left-hand side once more. Austin very quickly to him, bit of help from Hughes and also King. This is Greenwood. Joe Greenwood won a grand final against Warrington at Old Trafford last year in only his 11th appearance for the Wigan Warriors after he came back to the Super League from the NRL. Luluai with another deep kick to turn Jake Mamo and company around. Mamo picks it up, indicating, I thought he was indicating where he wanted Ratchford to run, but that was indicating that where he was going to run himself.
He was just using that as his balance, Eddie, I think. You know, there's a lot of non-negotiables that you do as a rugby player. You've got to make sure that defensively you switch on. When you're playing against Warrington, this man leads from the front constantly. He's always up there, big numbers, carrying the team forward, landing on his front, playing it quick. The defensive line not set, and that's the reason now why Blake Austin can go at the line.
And he gets the pass away to Atkins. Atkins, the hands weren't clamped, so he gets the ball away in his turn to Clark. Ratchford is waiting and looking right and left. They lined up both sides. They come left with Patton. He then gives it to Ben Curry. Curry is wrestled to the ground on tackle number 5. This is Clark. Patton again goes high. Ratchford's after this. Mamo's after this. The man who comes up with it is the Wigan fullback.
Good play from Zach Hardacre at the back, dealing with that pressure, because they are under pressure. Just look at the Warrington defensive line, getting in front of him and also getting in front of these players. Tom Davis again is like getting ricocheted from one player to the other.
Williams, George Williams, good pass wide. Greenwood rolls a couple of metres further forward, then plays the ball. This is Clubb. And Wigan have reached tackle number 5. This game being played at quite a pace. Hardacre with the kick. It's the highest tonight.
Easy though, easy for Ratchford. And they're struggling again to make metres. The Wigan Warriors, I wonder how long it'll be before we see the impressive Joe Bullock, who makes metres for days. His carries are virtually impossible to stop, making 8 and 10 metres every time he carries the ball. And I think Wigan need that at the minute.
Clark with another telling run. Last home defeat for Warrington against St Helens in the Super 8, the 22nd of September, 14-34. This is Hughes again. Last tackle now for Warrington. Down the short side to Austin. He drills the ball into the ground and knocks it over the sideline.
Another great set of 6, finished off with a quality kick, but players left at marker unable to take the position that they play the ball in Wigan shirts. They're struggling to control the ruck speed of Warrington Wolves. I've no doubt when they've done the prep during the week, they've talked about maybe controlling the speed that Warrington play the ball so that they can negate the influence that Darryl Clark is going to have on this match. But the offloads, the ruck speed, the quick play of the balls means that he's right at the forefront, Darryl Clark.
Warrington's 3 home wins this year. Leeds, Hulkingston Rovers and Castleford last week.
As your favourite player, Eddie, Joe Philbin on for Warrington Wolves. Always manages to make a big impact on any match.
He does indeed. He's one of the most effective substitutes in Super League these days, is Joe Philbin.
Your man's on now, Barry.
Here he is.
There you go, and there's his metres.
Joe Bullock. He's made a great start to life in Super League after playing for Barrow in the Championship. Here is a Lachlan, could have drifted forward. So much for the touch judge being influenced by 5,000 Warringtonians on this near side of the field.
He's eager for work, isn't he?
Bullock, he is. Williams with a deft little kick over the top, but only finding touch on that left-hand side. Ratchford content to let it go. He's being linked continually with a move to the NRL, and Canberra is George Williams. He would be a big loss to Wigan if he goes at the end of the year.
He's a fabulous player, isn't he, George Williams? We've seen what he can do over the years for Wigan. In grand finals, in big games, on the international stage. A lot of pressure on that man's shoulders because he is such an outstanding player. The hard thing for George Williams is he's not playing behind the pack that's going forward. The platform's not been laid by him. Last week when they played, he made 29 tackles. I wouldn't want my halfback to make 29 tackles in a game. I want him to organise and play behind the pack that's going forward.
Over 150 Wigan appearances for George Williams now. Curry again takes it forward.
He's lost that.
Yeah. The referee's happy with it, Ben Thaler.
Clark is proving a little bit of a thorn in the side of Wigan at the moment. He's teasing them when he has the ball. He goes down though on tackle number 3. It was Ratchford. Here is Cooper. Cooper surrounded by 3. Surrenders to the tackle standing up. It's Ratchford behind him. Here's big Joe Philbin. Play the ball to Ratchford here on tackle 5. Blake Austin, high hanging kick. Hardacre, as safe as Ratchford was underneath at the other end just a few minutes ago.
What can they get here now, Wigan, from the back 3? Can they get in any quick play of the balls? See again, good defence from Warrington. Well, good play of the ball. Morgan Esquire looking to get forward, looking for a penalty then. Little Frenchman.
Doesn't get the penalty, gets the tackle instead from Patton. Lulawai down the right with Isa. Patton again involved, this time with Chris Hill. Into centre field they go with Jared Sammett. Little jack in the box, Jared Sammett on his day. Williams waits as Greenwood plays the ball to him. High kick again from Sammett in towards the corner, pouched by Charnley.
Even that ball kicked into a decent position on the pitch. There's a few of the Wigan players just walking then over on the left-hand side. This is where they really do need to rev up. Again, that play, the ball's too quick. Any time that you see Darrell Clark running from dummy half, the previous player has won the tackle, earned the right for that quick play of the ball, and that's why that man goes.
Chris Hill now. 4 of them move in, bring him down. It's Clark once again. The run comes in from Mike Cooper, and Cooper saw a little gap.
Those are big meters made. Last tackle, quick play of the ball, giving the kicker, who on this occasion jumps out from dummy half. A nice clean kick. What's the chase like?
Well, Hardacre is quick, and the chase has arrived.
He's done well there, hasn't he? I mean, I think we're going to do very well here. It's an end-to-end game here. A test of concentration, obviously of fitness. People pushing very hard here now when the bodies are trying to tell them to slow down and stop. You have to ignore that message and drive on, which is exactly what Joe Bullock does.
Lulawai to Sammett, comes wide to Davis. Lulawai again, over the head of Sammett. This time finds his captain O'Loughlin. That's Williams. Williams to Hardacre once more.
Those are good meters made, and it all came from the accurate pass of Thomas Lulawai. 15 meters.
Here's Williams. Slice across field. It's into the arms of Sergeant Sindel. Something might develop from this. And what develops is that Warrington to get an extra tackle because the ball runs dead.
Too much weight on that kick from Sargent, and when he tried to poke it through the line, tried to put pressure on this man.
Jake Mamo.
He's all action, isn't he, Jake Mamo? Trying this game, a couple of tries last week. And again, it's the offload from Warrington in collision.
It's just powerful from Ben Curry. He goes up over the top, out muscles the 3 defenders that are in attendance. And because the support players are there for Warrington, because they're expecting it, they gain an advantage.
Blake Austin again, short pass finds Hughes. Hughes gets the offload away once more, back to Clark. He goes away from Bullock. The Bullock comes back gainfully and brings him down with Gildart. Ratchford. finds Pat, drops the pass off to Philbin. Philbin was looking to offload as well. Philbin with a high kick under pressure. Oh, almost pinched out of his hands by Mamu, but there was a knock-on, I think. There was. Head and feed to Wigan.
Well, it's a contest. As soon as this ball goes up in the air, both players have got every right to go for that ball. Davis versus Mamo. Mamo jumps high, and unfortunately for Warrington and Steve Price, he knocks that ball forward. So Wigan will get the head and feed here. It's a good contest between both of those players.
Jason Clark, number 14 on his back for Warrington, is out there on the field now. He's featured in all of the games so far, but only one start in the home win against Hull Rovers. Here he is.
Kevin Brown, before he went into the studio, had a bit of time and talked to him about the influence that his teammate has had. Jason Clark said throughout the week his preparation, his professionalism is outstanding, so he's influencing people before it gets to match day.
Yes, I think they've recruited really well this year, Warrington. There's a growing belief in this town that perhaps it might be, but that's a great pass wide.
Well, people have been criticising George Williams. I think he's played well this season as he has any others. It just seems to be, if Wigan don't perform and there is a forward pass here eventually, if Wigan don't form, and historically this has been the same for the last 40 years, the scrum half-forward standoff typically gets blamed. It's been George Williams who's caught most of the criticism, but it's a fantastic pass there to release the winger. John Greenwood disappointed here now. Conceding possession in your own half of the field isn't the best thing to do when you play the Warrington Wolves.
Look at that. Look at that from Headingley. London leading 2-0 against the Leeds Rhinos.
So they can come up with the big play from George Williams, but the simple little tip-on play, they just pass that ball forward. They're the simple ones they're bread and butter. They shouldn't be putting you under pressure.
Two of the biggest names in the Betfred Super League at the start of 2019 struggling. Wigan and Leeds, both with two new coaches. It takes time. Supporters have to be patient. Supporters are not patient.
It does, especially over at Headingley and the DW. They want wins and they want good wins, but Warrington through Steve Price, I just saw from the scrum there a beautiful piece of interplay, short passes, nice deceptive dummy runners.
That's a good ball from Austin. Here is Ben Curry. He's got too much strength.
No,
Not this ball off.
I don't think he's got it down, Eddie. I think it's on the leg of the Wigan defender. I don't know whether it's Zach Hardaker or not.
No try on the field. Hardaker. Well, this could be a real 4 points saved because it looked for all money.
Do you think it's on the thigh, Barry?
Yes, and I think it's an outstanding effort from Zach Hardaker, who's riding Ben Curry like a Blackpool donkey.
He knows exactly what he's doing there, doesn't he? Swings himself round. Zach Hardaker.
Tremendous effort.
That is a big, big play, that, isn't it?
That's massive. That is huge from Hardaker.
Yeah, players like that, when you've not had it your own way in the game, keep you in the game.
Well, we wax lyrical about the tries that are scored in this game. I think we should wax lyrical about this defensive effort from Zach Hardaker. Steady away this year, Hardaker.
In attack, Eddie, but he is one of the best defensive fullbacks in Super League. He hasn't quite clicked to the standards he sets himself at Wigan yet, but he'll always turn up and do stuff like that.
He knew straight away as well, saying to the referee, Ben Taylor, he's not got that down. You can clearly see his strength, his vision, his power. When he swings himself around here, he gets underneath it.
They're having enough looks at it.
What's the delay here, Stuart?
He's trying to find out what the restart is. You know, does he lose the ball or does Zach Hardaker take it off him? He's just looking at the restart. I'm fairly certain it's no try.
So we know it's a no try. The big question is how are they going to restart this match? By the looks of it, Warrington think it's going to be their ball 10 metres out. Try denied.
Wow, that's a big call. They said they've lost the possession over the try line
Well,
here.
to be fair though, Phil, he didn't he?
Yes.
He got
He
on,
gave the ball
he tried to kid the referee. He handed the ball over to Zach Hardaker.
So the lesson is don't let go of that ball at any point.
What about that double pump from Blake Austin? Again, he threads him through that line. Big play from Zach Hardaker.
Massive. Massive. We could have been 10-0 down, Wigan. Now it's just the 4. 27 minutes gone. Rip-roaring match. Gabe Hamlin for Wigan. That will lift them. That will give them confidence, Wigan.
That will. All of a sudden there's a spring in the step, isn't there?
Warrington tackling manfully. That was King, and he was all over the back of the Wigan player. It's a penalty to Wigan.
I think this year, in the games that when we've watched Wigan, they have struggled for metres coming out of yardage. Not in this game, though. Whether they've turned up with a different attitude, they're getting over the advantage line, they're taking Warrington defenders back with them.
That's the first penalty for Wigan, and look at that score from Headingley. Leeds 0, London 8. Silence all round.
Well, we did hear that Danny Ward had his team up to it.
Fantastic
As
coach.
a former Leeds player, he knew that he was going to decide we're going to get up for this one. Leeds under pressure. O'Loughlin now spinning one side, change of direction.
This is Willie Isa. That's the pass away. Sargentson. The other inspiration at the Headingley ground tonight, Michael Stevenson, Esquire. He is there.
The bar takings will be up then. Well, mind you, he doesn't buy many.
Williams with a run to the line. Oh, good ball. Just short though. Great defence. Great defence from Jason Clark. Luluai to Samet. Crossfield kick. The ball is powered back. And Bradford is grounded in the in-goal area.
There was some bravery from Warrington on their own try line, stopping a couple of big charges. First there was George Williams who goes through, then Joe Bullen, and then under pressure here, see Jake Marmore just trying to tap the ball back to his full-back, Stephen Ratchford, who's in the right position, just can't get over the try line though. Good defence from Tom Davis.
Was there a hint of a knock-on in the air by Tom Davis?
It looked like there was just a slight touch that took it forward. The referee's looking from the other side. He's given the goal line dropout.
Adrian Lamb, the Wigan coach, hoping against hope. He certainly hasn't had the rosiest of starts, but he had 4 seasons with Wigan as a player. He knows the standards and the demands that the job brings. He's confident that things will turn round. And I must say, in the opening half hour here, they're matching Warrington, but Warrington lead. And here is O'Loughlin. It's Luluai behind him. Gives the ball then. A short pass. Didn't quite come off.
Asking a lot of his teammate then when he takes that ball to the line. There's a primrose and blue line in front of him. And Joe Bull unable to collect that ball.
Samet's pass. Crowd are enjoying it.
I was just going to say that, what a fantastic atmosphere it is. It's nice to come to this ground and it's buzzing. There's an atmosphere and there's plenty of feelings on the terraces and the field.
This is Atkins. Oh, they're not standing square. He caught them out then in Darryl Clark.
Oh, such a good player, isn't he? Darryl Clark. With more meters from behind dummy half than any other player in Super League. So intelligent, knows when it's the right time to run. He doesn't go for meters on that occasion. He sees that the markers aren't set, he picks them straight out. And the ref awards the penalty.
Wakefield had it Hull FC. Away sides winning everywhere except here, where Warrington lead by 4 points to 0. And Ratchford goes through the defence. And Warrington lead by 8 points to 0. Stephen Ratchford, man of the match in Steve Price's beaten side in the grand final last year. Only the 4th winner of the Harry Sunderland Award from the losing team. But tonight, a try against Wigan would give them an 8-point advantage.
Well, they end up because of the intelligence of Darryl Clark gaining a penalty, and from the top, how many times have we seen the skill of Ben Curry, the courage of the support on it in Stephen Ratchford, end up being 4 or 6 points for Warrington. There's so many things to admire. Look at the commitment, the deception and the courage of Stephen Ratchford on the backhand of that pass.
He's an absolute class act, isn't he, Ben Curry? When he goes at the line, Gabe Hamlin, he jams in, creates some space for that man, and he goes straight through. But for that man to throw the pass, he only come back last week. Phenomenal player, phenomenal talent, and just in his second game, he throws that ball which sets up a try.
It almost feels like Ben Curry's cheating, because everybody takes one in or they put a pass or two together, but Ben Curry knows exactly what he's doing. We've seen him do it time after time after time. The reason it catches teams out and it surprises them is because it's so highly skilled and there's such a high risk to it, but the reward is a quality try.
Well, it's his 100th start for Warrington tonight. Ben Curry had to wait a long, long time for his 99th, 11 months. Last week he made that, and he was injured against Wigan last year. So far, this is a much happier night against the Wigan Warriors. Ratchford adds the extras. We're going to have a 10-point lead to make up here.
Well, Warrington got some good players, but I would say that Ben Curry is probably the best. Given time here now, he's only going to get better after the long injury layoff that he's had. That's a fantastic pass. There are a few players who can do what Ben Curry can do, and I said before the match, the loss of John Bateman for Wigan is possibly one of the biggest reasons why they're struggling so far this season. And Liam Farrell, don't forget, Wigan did well with him and Greenwood in the second row. But tonight, the two second rowers for the Warrington side, Jack Hughes and Ben Curry, have clearly outplayed their opponents so far.
Well, these two sides met each other 4 times in 2017, 6 times in 2018. They will face Wigan at least 3 times this year, because these two teams will meet at the end of day 1 of the Magic weekend at Anfield in May.
Jared Talbot gives the penalty away this game. He needs to inject himself in the game. He's a dangerous player when he has his hands on the ball, but he needs to get his hands on the ball.
Whoops, Ben Curry with a little fiddle, but he held on.
I thought it was another trick play for a second then.
They're 20 metres away, as you can see, 30 metres away actually, and this is Jason Clark. Clark, Darrell variety, finds Pat. There's Austin, short ball from him, the big man's on, Ben, Murdoch, Masilla, gets to his feet. Toby King, straining every sinew, flicks the ball back. Clark again. Hughes is there, shows it, doesn't give it, gives it to Ratchford instead. Ratchford cuts inside, brilliant run. Gets on one knee and passes the ball back to Clark. He flicks Escaray away, shapes to kick. Teasing them is Darrell Clark. Patton waits, so close Warrington to another try. Here it goes! No, forward pass! Forward pass!
You know what you like about this Warrington side is when they turn around to offload it, somebody's with them. They get back behind the ball carrier, they offer themselves. Little tip on play there between Clark and Jack Hughes.
He's just a bit too eager there.
That doesn't look forward on that angle.
If he's half a metre back and he's a little bit more patient, I imagine he's a bit excited. He knows that Clark is going to tip that ball onto him. He's excited because he can see the gap wide open and he's going to get himself a try.
Jack Hughes had to twist. Watch here, he has to twist and turn it back.
I'm with you, Eddie. That looks all right to me, but you go with the live call, don't you?
Well, you have to, and I think Jack Hughes was ahead of the pass, but
and he didn't dispute it.
No, he didn't.
Jake, starts it quick!
Well, an exit set here now for Wigan. What can they create? Will he ice it with the half break? Good play the ball as well here.
O'Loughlin gives it to Williams. Williams gets a short ball away, but they put the ball down again. And here comes Blake Austin. Austin down the line, checks, comes back inside.
Good energy from Wigan to try and get back and salvage it.
Murdoch Masilla to Charnley. Charnley to Clark. That's Hughes. This is Patton. Here is Curry again.
Well, move, Jordan!
Warrington fans on top note as Jason Clark takes the ball forward.
Do you know what? The players are feeding off that energy, aren't they?
Spectacular, isn't it? Nice to come hear an atmosphere and it not be a cowbell, Eddie, yeah?
This is Blake Austin again. Grounded 10 metres out. Clark. Jason Clark. Then Patton.
Good throw.
Brought to the ground by Samet. Ratchford. Atkins. Tackle 5 coming up. Sargentson trying to get back into the defensive line. There is Patton. Crossfield kick from Patton. I think that was knocked out of the Wigan hand by Charnley, was it? Well, the referee is just asking. I think he's asking Robert Hicks, the video referee, just to have a look at this.
Yeah, just
confirm
checking.
his thoughts.
Just checking.
No, it was a knock-on, a knock-back by Wigan. It's going to be a goal line drop-out.
Yeah, there's Oliver Gilnat who comes up with it. It's a good kick, isn't it? Drops it right on the try line. Gilnat comes up with it. Then there's a bit of contact in the earth. Loses that ball forward.
Constantly go back to the play of the ball, me, and the accuracy of the pass from Acton Half and Stephen Ratchford, left to right, booms that pass, and it gives enough time and space and think time for Dec Patton to place that kick where he wants.
But the cowbell, I think we've got a bass drum.
It's better than the cowbell.
Ratchford underneath the goal.
Here he goes, here he goes. Filled it.
What a hit from Gabe Hamlin. Or was it Joe Bullock?
Joe Bullock, I think it was, Eddie.
Gabe Hamlin there.
Yeah, we'll have a little look. He picks Gabe Hamlin out.
There's
But
two
it's
of them.
Joe Bullock that comes from
Joe
the
Bullock
side.
with the original challenge.
Yeah, that's what he's been penalised for. For that high shot. Well, he's trying to get to Gabe Hamlin, but it's just a high shot from Bullock over the top.
Well, what happens here then?
Well, he's pulled Joe Bullock out.
Let's just watch his tackles. All right, I know in approach to feel like but to really get on it. It's like, yeah, break this hack.
Just a word of warning. He wouldn't want to go down to 1 down because Bullock's in the sin bin.
Well, he dealt with that in the correct manner, didn't he, the referee, Ben Thaler?
It's been physical, but it's been played in the right manner and with the right temperament.
Jason Dunkley behind again there. The referee agrees. It's 2 high shots in a row.
Well, that's Sean O'Loughlin on that occasion.
Is that a sign of desperation?
Well, that, again, the first contact was with on the shoulder, then it goes above the shoulder and hits
It
the
looks
head.
worse from that angle,
But
which was the referee's angle.
They're trying to hit hard. They're trying to force the error. Whether or not you can intimidate Warrington, because they've had lots of this over the years.
6-1 in Warrington's favour, the penalty count. And from the 6th they've just been awarded, they're going to have a shot at goal to make it a 2 converted try lead as we approach half-time.
Well, could be 12 points behind here. They've had some good patches, Wigan, and they've had some patches like this where they've just lost the focus, lost the marbles, give a couple of penalties away, then all of a sudden they're on the back foot, whereas Warrington have been keeping it simple. When they need to play, when they're near Wigan's line, they're opening it up, they're offloading the ball. There's people pushing into the next hole.
And they played the game for the majority of the time down here, facing their opponent's try line.
So Ratchford looking for his second successful kick of the night. And he's got it. And Warrington have a 12-point lead, and we've got 25 seconds to go to half-time.
When you make decisions like that to go for 2 points, it just takes the sting out of the game. Stephen Ratchford knows exactly where they are on the scoreboard, knows exactly how long's left before the break.
Now we've got 7 seconds left. With the confidence that they're playing with here, Warrington, what have they got? Can they give us an absolutely magic moment before half-time?
The ball's got to get out of the sky first. Charnley is underneath it.
Well, the answer's
No,
no.
the answer's no. He says we'll take the 12-point lead, and we'll go in at half-time with that. Thank you very much. Good game, though. Very good game. 4-0, Warrington led after 7 minutes. Wigan kept them out until the 31st minute when Ratchford scored a beautiful try on the back of a wonderful pass from Ben Curry. Ratchford added the goal. He got a penalty goal in the last minute of the half. And so, Warrington Wolves lead the Wigan Warriors by 12 points to 0 at the break. Big question, is this the year? Them perhaps weave a little bit of magic.
Reunite with thousands of free kids places when you book a TUI holiday now. Book online or visit your local TUI store. We cross the T's, dot the I's and put you in the middle. TUI, discover your smile at all.
I can find and find my car.
Visit the home of feel-good car buying today.
Find and fundmycar.com.
Well, now we're joined by Dominic Robinson, who's been struggling to go the distance at work this afternoon. To relieve the boredom, he's placed an each-way bet here at Newbury on Cupid's Dart in the 2:30.
Never a good idea.
Dominic, how does it feel to flush your hard-earned money straight down the pan?
Join us live from the least explored waters on Earth. Deep Ocean Live on Sky News and Sky Atlantic.
Pioneers pushed the boundaries. Technology gave us speed. Rivalries gave us drama. Television brought us closer. We gave it a home.
Vettel's done it again in 2012.
Here's to a new chapter.
Welcome to 2019, live on Sky Sports F1.
And it's lights out, and away we go!
It's gone back to Richardson. Richardson with the drop goal. He's kicked it!
A double-header for you on Super Sunday, Sky Sports Premier League. Liverpool's trip to Fulham, 1:30 p.m. start for that, and then Chelsea in the opposite direction, heading north to Merseyside, 4:15 p.m. Sky Sports Premier League. And at the home of live and exclusive Formula One practice sessions, of course, dominated by Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton, but the battle for pole position will take place tomorrow, 5 a.m. Sky Sports Formula One, the Australian Grand Prix qualifying, followed by race day on Sunday at 3:30 a.m. start with us, 5:05 for the race starts. All right, two other games from round 6 of the Betfred Super League bring you score updates. There was a delay in that Wakefield game. Of course, Wakefield scoring first to Ryan Hampshire and Bill Tupou, sandwiching a Danny Brough penalty. And then Tom Johnston picked up a really bad injury, stretchered from the field, and is worrying news for Wakefield. The latest scoreline there is 10-14. Danny Houghton and Beretta Faraimo scoring for Hull FC, so dragging themselves back into that game. It's a disappointing scoreline for Leeds Rhinos fans. They trail 8-0 at half-time at Emerald Headingley Stadium. Kieran Dixon's penalty, and then a Jay Pitts try that Dixon converted. Let's take you inside the dressing rooms here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium as Steve Price delivers his messages at half-time to his side. They have a healthy half-time lead, 12-0. They expected an aggressive and a fired-up Wigan performance. I think it's fair to say that Wigan did come with that, but the Warrington Wolves in that first 40 minutes have been too clinical, too good for Adrian Lamb's side. He made 7 changes to the team that went down to Huddersfield. They'll expect some sort of a response from them. They got 40 minutes to rescue this match. Well, pressure on the on the Wigan Warriors. I'm joined by a former Wigan Warrior and a current Warrington Wolves star, Kevin Brown, in the dressing room, or in the studio with me here at halftime. Quick assessment of that first half from a Warrington Wolves perspective. Job done so far?
Job done. We wanted to start fast. We spoke before the game that you know, we wanted to put the pressure on Wigan. You know, obviously, emotionally, that anxiety's been building, and yeah, we started well. I think Ben Curry's been fantastic. We spoke about him before the game, and he's probably been our best player so far.
Good right to left shift as well. Nice try for Jake Mamo going over. A massive play from Zach Hardaker, defensive play, being able to hold up Ben Curry. It was a huge, huge effort.
Yeah, he's got no right to do this, has he? And it's no fluke. He puts his legs around, and we spoke. He did this 3 times last week. He's playing in a team that's, you know, unfortunately giving him opportunity to be so good defensively. But yeah, on that occasion, it was superb.
Well, there's a rule back for forward pass. Just Jack Hughes overrunning the ball. There was a little cameo in that Stefan Ratchford try that scored off the tap. Ben Curry passes Stefan Ratchford, but a player you've been speaking to me about in studio here during that first half is Jason Clark. His effort to push up on the play distracts the Wigan Warriors defenders and makes it look easier for Stefan than perhaps it would have been. Yeah, it's just that little bit of extra effort that I think we as players all really appreciate that Jason does. He's got the player a few times this year already, and it's them little subtle differences that he does in his game that other players might not. He pushed I think Gabe Hamlin was the player who had to come in and close that space down, opened a huge gap for Stefan. Well, that took it out to 10-0. Stefan tagged on a penalty, 12-0 to the Warrington Wolves. John Wells, you join us from the touchscreen. What have you made of that first 40 minutes?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Well, first of all, I'll show you why, one of the main reasons why I think the Warrington Wolves are being so dominant, and it's what they're doing. This offload game is really killing the Wigan Warriors. They're coming late, out over the top from Ben Curry on this occasion. You have a look at the amount of Wigan players who've given up on that, and they're not actually... This time, Darryl Clark, he actually plays, and he gives the Warrington Wolves an opportunity to hit a different part of the field. He's doubling up on the defensive work that the Wigan Warriors are having to do. It wouldn't surprise me that Adrian Lamb tries to address this at half-time. Don't retreat too early. There's another one coming up here. This time, Darryl Clark does play, and he's playing against retreating or static Wigan Warriors defences. The problem with staying up is that you then offer a late retreating line and more for the Warrington Wolves in Deck Patton and Blake Austin to play at, as we see the moment of the half, and the reason I think that the Wigan Warriors are still in this game, and that's Zach Hardaker. He has had a long time out of the game. He's becoming incrementally better week on week, and this is what he does very, very well. He's actually taken a place in the defensive line, not a natural position for a fullback to be. He sent Thomas Luluai the late retreat. They've got the numbers right. He fades out the line here, and have a look at the track back and what he's able to do. There are very few players in world rugby who can do this. I'm going to show you from the other angle now, because as he gets a hand over the top, the first thing he does to try and do is secure the ball. Now, that movement there from his knee is deliberate, and he's done that to give himself the best possible chance of keeping that ball from being grounded. So he's locked the ball up with that left arm, and then really deliberately thrown his knees underneath. It's an outstanding defensive play from somebody we know can be an outstanding player. He's still finding his way back to the very top of what his capabilities are, Brian. But that's the moment of the half for me, and that's why you cannot write the Wigan Warriors off yet.
That's a very good point. Thanks very much, John. It does keep Wigan in the game, moments like that. You were looking at that, and you were, I mean, waxing lyrical in the studio about that effort, that defensive effort from Zach. Yeah, as disappointed as I was, you know, I've got to appreciate that, because he had no right. He had to show a bit of everything, his speed to get there. And Ben Curry's, he's 110 kilos and really fast, so to get there and get his hand on him, but then wrap the legs round, fair credit. All right, how does this second 40 minutes play out? From a Warrington perspective, you want to start like the first half, pile more pressure on them. First score for you would be a huge score. It would. I don't think we'll go chasing points. I think initially we'll try and get back in the grind, and I think we completed about 77% then. So if we can do something similar, get our fair share of the ball, then, you know, I'm confident that the likes of Austin and Deck Patton can combine again and pull Wigan apart. OK, well, the Wigan Warriors will be hoping that is not the case, as will their fans watching this game. Can they rescue the match at the Halliwell Jones Stadium? They trailed 12-0 at half-time. We'll have the second half coming up for you with Eddie and the boys after the break. What have the visitors got in reply? In a hole in the competition ladder, 12-0 down, they got 40 minutes to rescue this match.
That was an absolute wicked kick, that.
The A-Class range with Mercedes Me from £269 per month.
The Two Tasty deal from Domino's. 2 medium pizzas and 1 sumptuous side for only $19.99. Domino's, the official food of everything.
Wouldn't it be nice to keep things you normally lose? Well, unlike anyone else, Sky Mobile rolls over all your unused data for up to 3 years. So it's there when you need it most. Make the most of all that data on the new Samsung Galaxy S10. Sky Mobile. Hello, possible.
Ooh, first date. Pressure's on. Whoa, need to tighten up the look. Flick back the precision flip trimmer for those hard-to-reach places, and bosh. Well, what do you know? She likes you. Wilkinson Sword Hydro Sense. Wilkinson Sword Hydro range. Great.
This is our defining moment. Our chance to take back our country. Our chance to shape history.
Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Out now. Play it on the world's most powerful console.
The painting, Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker? Oh, now. Well. Oh, God in Himmel.
Brand new Bounty Hunters. All episodes available now.
As a Sky TV customer, you can use the Sky Go app at no extra cost. So you can make dinner without missing your favorite show. And keep up on all the live action while you work. You can even watch the TV you love on holiday, with Sky Go now available in the EU. So make the most of Sky, anytime, anywhere on your devices. Download and start enjoying the Sky Go app today at no extra cost.
Misses him. Gelling over the top. Well, coming up live on Sky Sports, look what we've got for you over the next day or two. On Sunday, the Gold Coast take on Canberra in yet another match from the NRL in Australia. That's at 7:05 on Sunday morning, Sky Sports Arena. And Sky Sports Arena, a double-header in the afternoon. Hull KR against the Catalan Dragons at 2:55, and Toronto against Batley from the Championship at 5. Teams are emerging for the second half. Warrington Wolves 12, Wigan Warriors 0. Wigan fans, their memory will stretch back to 2006. 6 defeats in a row. Warrington fans don't care about that, though. 6 defeats in a row in 2006. They flirted with relegation that year. They actually only won 1 of their first 10 in Super League. Ian Millwood lost his job. Brian Noble took over and rescued them. Wigan have got 40 minutes to rescue this match. That's a tremendous kick-off, and Charnley couldn't get to it. And Wigan are on the front foot right at the start of this second half.
Well, that is the start that they needed, isn't it?
And this is even better now, they get the penalty.
Yeah, well, Joe Bullock, the big powerful Joe Bullock, earning a penalty for his side against the ex-Wiganer, Jack Hughes.
It was a brave attempt from Josh Charnley, though. I'm sure his coach will back him if his side can defend this set, that is.
Hamlin goes down on the first after the penalty. Luluai, short ball to Samet, back it comes to Williams, no-look pass, and forward again as Greenwood touches down. How many forward passes have Wigan been pulled back for tonight?
Like in the first half, he's looking out the back, it's the no-look pass.
That is a forward.
Yeah, Joe Greenwood hits that, but look at this. Good kick-off, wasn't it? Couldn't quite capitalise on that. Just Charlie making a mistake. Joe Bullock earning a penalty. They get that good field position, but they can't post any points. Even you look at last week when they played against Huddersfield, the only points that they scored was from when Thomas Luluai kicked the ball through, Morgan Escudero scored. They didn't break the line, they didn't get over the try line through good attacking play.
Let's get down to the sideline. Bill has news of what was said at half-time.
Well, Eddie, that'll be infuriating for Adrian Lamb, because the main context of his half-time message was defensively he was really pleased with what his side had come up with, the spirit, the endeavour they'd shown, but they were letting themselves down in attacking positions. And what do they do at the start of the second half? They get into a great attacking position and again let themselves down. That's the area they've got to improve on. They're not going to get many opportunities in this game. They've got to make the most of those that come their way. They failed to do that on that occasion. Steve Price really happy with his side's effort in this game so far. But this man in possession, Darryl Clark, holds the key, and they've got to support him like they're doing now.
With Ratchford, and Charlie wants the ball played out wide. It gets to Josh Charlie. Charlie trying to get over against his former club again. And Wigan come back in numbers and pull him down. This is the last one this set. On the bounce it finds Austin. Austin with a crossfield kick. And all he finds is Dan Sargentson, who takes the tackle in the end from Ryan Atkins. Well, spectacular attack from Warrington. It looked for all money like they were going to get over when Clark made the break, and he knows that might have been a chance gone.
Well, it's the offloading game yet again, isn't it, from Warrington? Stephen Ratchford gets on the end of the pass from Darryl Clark. Good strong defence here from Warrington, just driving the Wigan player back towards his own try line.
Right, let's get straight back to Bill.
Eddie, all it was, Darryl Clark's just borne out what Steve Price was saying. He's made some great breaks, and they haven't been pushing up in support of him. They did on that occasion. They still didn't make the try out of it, but he wants his side to really be on Clark's shoulder, because he is having a stormer.
Yes, he is. He's playing really well. Warrington are playing really well. Wigan aren't playing badly, but they're just up against a better side in the opening 43 and a half.
The footwork, the balance when he gets through. He's got Stephen Ratchford there. I think Stephen Ratchford had a player on his left. He goes over to the right-hand side and give it to that man, Josh Charnley. They've got so many players, though, haven't they? Just pushing up in support, playing on the back of a quick play the ball. When that man gets out, causes problems. And Stephen Ratchford, his vision at the back to read plays and support the likes of Darryl Clark.
Let's fight, please! Heads in! Shoveled off! Out!
Warrington have the possession from the scrum.
Move! Wait, Joe. Wait! Wait!
Here's Ben Murdoch-Masilla now for Warrington.
Move, George! Hold this 10, boys.
Darryl Clark again. Austin gets it wide to Ratchford.
Ratchford's coming more into this game now, and it's back at some of the work of Blake Austin.
Curry.
The more Blake Austin can get involved, the more Blake Austin can find his fullback, the more breaks they're going to make.
Leads are on the board against London. This is Jack Hughes for Warrington. They're desperate for revenge, of course, for the grand final defeat at Old Trafford last year. Warrington, they lost by 4 points to 12. Oh, Escare's dropped it. Here is Charlie. Charlie gets the try against his former club. Josh Charlie celebrates a telling try, perhaps, at the start of this second half. And Wolfie's getting involved in the celebrations as well.
Well, they brought him back from rugby union the back end of March last year. And he's been a good buy, hasn't he? 28 appearances last year, 25 tries, scores a try, spectacular finish here, gets rid of George Williams, knows exactly where that try line is, and has the ability to score it. But what about that? And yet again from the kick, Morgan Escray did look comfortable under it, and the finish is spectacular.
Well, right on cue, Blake Austin, off the back of some great work from his forwards, as for the time, as the think time to place that ball. I'm sure he'd want to do better, Morgan Escray, but he was put under pressure. The kick chase was good, the quality of the kick was exceptional, and the finish, well, out of this world.
Yes, it was from Josh Charnley, and Wigan know all about his finishing power. 164 tries and 173 for them, and Stephen Price has got his side 16-0 up against the champions with 46.5 minutes of this match gone. Wigan beat Warrington in 4 of the 6 last year, but they lost both of the games here. Wolfie's giving him an idea of how to kick this ball. I'll tell you what, get Wolfie on the case every time.
Well, I think it's John Carlisle who perhaps deserves some of the credit for working with Stephen Ratchford on that goal kicking, but I want to get away from Wolfie just for that second. High kick from Blake Austin. Warrington with better field position and most possession in the first half have had the similar situation to start the second. And there's a Warrington supporter, in fact, there's a Warrington director who's recovering in hospital from an operation called Mike Lomax. I think this will certainly be aiding his recovery. 18-0 up against the arch rivals.
Yes, it will. And there's the try scorer, the latest try scorer. Lachlan is trapped. Well, the last couple of defeats for Wigan have been just a touch disconcerting. 16-18 to London. Last week to bottom of the table, Huddersfield. 6-14. And here is a penalty going against them as well. They're just a little clunky.
Well, even in that London game, I think they were 10-0 up at one point, weren't they, Eddie? And to lose that game, Danny Ward's men did a tremendous job, but the penalties here that they're giving, letting Warrington off the hook, putting themselves under pressure.
And Warrington start this set deep inside Wigan territory, and that's Ryan Atkins.
He's powerful, isn't he? Like, quick play the ball as well, Ryan Atkins.
Big testimonial year for him. How would it be if they actually win their first title since the mid-50s? That's what they have been promising and threatening in the recent past. Certainly they recruited really well.
I think this year you look at that side and you look at the players who haven't made the side, they are a well-balanced side, aren't they? And this man plays big minutes down at Plough, and that's a big tackle. Really does look after the middle of the field, knows what to do on the edges as well.
With Blake Austin, he comes off the chest. Just a word about Josh Charnley, by the way. He got tries in 3 meetings with Wigan last year, and he's done it again in the first meeting here tonight. It's a Wigan penalty now.
Well, a hard fight there from Zach Hardacre at the play of the ball. Here, Mamo all over him, along with Blake Austin. Lashes out at the play of the ball, and the referee decides that's a Wigan penalty. 30 metres upfield, and some well-needed field position.
You know, his memories.
Oh, they dropped the ball.
Ball gone, or is it a penalty? No, it's a simple knock on.
Well, Dan Sargent, I thought he had a great game against the Roosters in the World Club Challenge. A basic error, a basic mistake. There is a hand on the ball.
There is
from Ben Curry, yes, but he's still got hold of it at the point when he hits the floor, and he just simply lets go of the ball.
I was just going to say before that, this has the hallmarks of the Cup quarter-final last year between these two on this ground. Warrington won 23-0. At the moment they're 18-0 up. Curry just being checked out.
It's very early to be looking at the other side of the scoreboard for Warrington, but if it stays the same on the right-hand side and Wigan have that 0 with 10 or 12 minutes to go, that will be as equally important, the points for and the points against. If you can nil your nearest and dearest, then that's something extra special.
18 points of winning lead, Phil, do you think?
It probably is, yeah. I chatted to Kevin Brown and Brian Carney before the game about what we thought the score might be, and Both of them thought that Warrington had more than 18 points in them by the time we get to 80 minutes. Wigan could, Eddie, come up with 18, but I don't know whether with half an hour to go in this game they can restrict Warrington from scoring another point.
They did restrict Ben Murdoch-Masilla there, and there is a Warrington player down in back play. As Clark finds Hughes in centre field.
Is it Blake Austin? He did take that ball to the line. We've talked about his skill a number of times of taking it to the line. He's a big man, 100 kgs, 15.5 stone.
That's a booming pass into the arms of Curry, and he just gives a little short one to Atkins. He tries to wrestle away from them.
Yeah, the referee's seen the fact that
the doctor's on the field.
Blake Austin is down. As I say, he took it to the line. He tried to get Ben Murdoch-Masilla, who was so good last week. There you go. Well, it is a little late. Blake Austin isn't looking at the defender that eventually connects with him.
Was it Greenwood? I think he was sort of stood there, wasn't he? And
yeah.
It was a collision. There won't be any consolation to him.
Well, Steve Price and the Warrington fans will be hoping that it's not a problem with Blake Austin.
Is it possible he's got a whiplash injury here? Sometimes when players have passed the ball, the body relaxes slightly. And maybe here now it's that later collision there. You see his head and neck.
Well, looking at that, it looks like a bit of a shoulder charge. Because the game's gone on, a couple of incidents, a couple of play the balls. The only option to the referee is to place this incident on report. Can't take any action on the field against Joe Greenwood.
Well, there's obviously a problem for Blake Austin.
And that could well be the fact that Blake Austin's been so influential in this game. Joe Greenwood, frustrated for the fact that he's got nowhere near him all evening, has the slightest, smallest window to get hold of him, and as it's shut in because the ball's gone, he thinks, well, I'm here now anyway, so I might as well give him a little tickle.
Well, he will carry on by the looks of things, or will he? He's just
play the ball.
Leeds have hit the front against London. That will be a relief from Headingley. The incident, as Stuart says, is on report.
We've had to play the ball.
To be fair, Blake Austin's been influential all year, hasn't he?
They're taking him off the field, though, now for a head test.
You make sure that he's okay, wouldn't you?
Well, you've got to, really. When you saw all the care and attention he got on the ground, to allow him to carry on would have been risky.
Warrington are one of those sides that go with 4 forwards on the bench. It'll be interesting to see how they shuffle the team about, who they'll put in the space. He's been so effective this evening, and you're right, Tess, for 2019 completely. Somebody else in the walls, Ryan Atkins.
Yep.
Just feeling the snozzer. There you go. He ends up, yeah, there. Oh, I thought it was a head clash.
It's Dan Sargentson went straight into the nose of Ryan Atkins with a bit of a swinger.
Well, Wigan, you can see what they're thinking. They're trying to up the levels.
See what they're thinking.
Of physicality.
We're desperate here.
Yeah, I thought there was a head clash, but obviously it's not. There's the forearm into the face and nose of the centre, Ryan Atkins.
Isn't it?
Possibly.
So he's getting 10 minutes in the bin.
He set himself, didn't he, Dan Sargentson?
You can't really have any arguments with that. As I say, you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to be more physical than their opponents, but you've got to get that right.
Did that come from the video referee, Stuart?
Yeah, when they saw the footage, it's on that tackle. We haven't had to play the ball since the incident, so he can take a different action with that, and his action was to sit with him and give the penalty to Warrington.
So if Blake Austin hadn't been injured and we hadn't had that stop, it's highly unlikely we would never have seen that replay and either someone been on the field.
There's a chance of that, yes.
Well, Jay Marmore looks like he's gone to full-back now. Stephen Ratchford stepped up into the halves. That's how they're dealing with the loss of Blake Austin.
Well, how will Wigan deal with the loss of Dan Sargentson? Here is Jason Clark. Warrington really looking to put this game almost to bed as Murdoch-Masilla goes on a run.
We scored from that play in the cup here. They've learned 12 months later. He's not crashing through from that range. But the referee penalises Wigan. Interference around the play of the ball.
Well, it was a shocking play, the ball, in the first place.
It was an outstanding stop, wasn't it, to prevent Murdoch from Masilla from crashing over at that speed and range. In fact, it's an illegal play, the ball, isn't it?
He's attempted to play that ball. I think the smart piece of that is Darrell Clark. He doesn't even attempt to pick that up.
Should have been a penalty to Wigan for not playing properly.
Wigan were offside, Phil.
Could have 150 penalties in the match, Phil, if we did that.
Yeah.
So Warrington camped underneath the Wigan posts as Clark feeds it out to Patton. He's shaped to pass it wide.
He thought about kicking it as well, didn't he, then, because the Wigan players had gone past him.
This is Darrell Clark, Joe Philbin. Ratchford turns around again. Gives it to Hughes, who straightens it up.
And he's started to get a bit of needle in this game now from Wigan.
Clark again, comes down the right-hand side. Clark going himself. Murdoch Masilla.
Is he going to go himself?
Dummy half, I had that thought myself. No, he isn't. He gives it to Ratchford instead. Ratchford then gives it to Patton. Patton booms it wider to Atkins. Takes the return from Ryan Atkins. Gives it then to Ratchford.
Surrender! Stand! Fine, Joe, wait for me, mate. Joe, fine.
Philbin and Patton will hoist it wide here, looking for Charnley again.
He gets up, again, you put that in the corner of Josh Charnley. There's a high difference between him and Morgan Escarate, and that is one of the things that they're trying to gain an advantage with, but it's the offloading game. According to our stats, coming up for 15 offloads, every one of them has gone to hand, and they've backed it up with ferocious defence like that.
And the crossfield kick was looking to expose Escarate again, because he's already dropped one in the second half, which led to the try.
Win it, Jason. Oh, go early.
Wide. Bullock looks a bit weary. Does Sean O'Loughlin? Here is a penalty now for a head-high shot.
Well, he had to jump behind Jason Clark to get a shot on Big Joe Bullock. It hits him, leaves the pressure from Wigan. Like there was an injury with Sean O'Loughlin then when he got up to play that ball.
And you felt the crowd beneath us just give a little bit of an ironic cheer if he goes off for Wigan. We've seen it countless times. When he leaves the field, the intensity drops.
He is a real warrior. He's O'Loughlin at 36, never present so far.
And at 36, they desperately need him.
It's Jake Shark, isn't it? Just on the field. Hasn't played for Wigan for over 2 years. He's come on here in the most difficult circumstances.
Williams gives it to Greenwood. Dropped to the ground by Murdoch Masilla. Gildart down the short side. Watched all the way, though, by Jack Hughes. It's good defence. Escarate trying to burrow his way over, but
that's really
sheer weight of numbers.
That's a poor way to end the second. You can see Adrian Lamb, one of the most creative players, Adrian Lamb, that I ever played with. He knew how to guide a team around the field. He knew what he wanted his forwards to do. And then on your last play near the try line, it's like under-11s football, that then from Morgan Escarate.
Beaten by sheer weight of numbers as well, that Warrington were not going to let him anywhere near the try line. Bit of a match going on at the KCOM Stadium, Hull 12, Wakefield 18. Leeds, as we saw, have taken the lead now against London, having trailed at half-time. This is Atkins. There's the ball. It's carted forward again by Curry. Here's Lamatazi now off the bench.
Know your job, take it forward, land on your front. Seems simple for Warrington, doesn't it?
Time and a half there for Ratchford to hunt that ball in the air. Hardacre's after it. Actually safely. Remember, it could have been even worse had Hardacre not got that tackle in the first half to prevent the try.
Well, dangerous on his kick returns. Warrington alert to that man who's catching the ball then.
Now Escarate once more. Plays it to Gildart. That was a quick play, the ball. Hughes tried to collar him. He was away too quickly, though.
George Williams was on his shoulder and there was a space, there was a gap for him. No pass came.
Sean O'Loughlin finds Sammet. Short ball again that the crowd say was forward to Willie Isa. There's Jake Shorrocks. Stabbed through, but swept up neatly by Mamo, and he'll bring it forward again. Jake Shorrocks, by the way, his last appearance was in the 28-26 win at Widnes, round 2, 2017.
And to compound that, Eddie, he went obviously to Salford on loan last year, but didn't get picked in any of the games after July, so this really is the deepest of the deep ends he's just been thrown into.
Charnley again. Adrian Lamb said, though, when he named him, it's a chance. They're in a bit of an injury crisis, Wigan, but this is a chance for the likes of Jake Shorrocks to make their name.
Well, he is learning about all his players, and coaching isn't just about teaching your players to catch, pass and tackle. It's about understanding them, getting to know them as people, as well as how they function under pressure. He's learning right at the cold face here, Adrian Lamb, just what his players are all about.
Hughes on the last tackle gives it to Ratchford. This is a high hanging kick from right to left. Oh! And Atkins saw the try line begging, knocked the ball on. Davis will run it back. Oof, and then Masilla comes in with one, gives him one for his corner.
Well, he tries everything, doesn't he? Ball goes back then, picks it up. There goes Greenwood again, trying to play the way out of trouble.
He's lost the ball.
Oh no, penalty.
Penalty, it's been stolen.
Penalty from Joe Greenwood. And looking at what the forwards have been doing for Wigan, you can see that the ball is stripped there from Josh Charnley, straight in front of the touch judge. And I want the Wigan forwards now to step up. The ones who are carrying the ball forward, it's the outside backs that are looking to take Wigan forward. You've got to get up there around 18, 20 carries. If you're a prop forward, if you're a back rower, again around the similar numbers. I'm just not quite seeing it at the minute for the Warriors. Well, again, the first one up from the tap is a centre.
Ready, boys. Wait. Go.
So they come again to Wigan. They need to get over the line quickly, reduce this deficit. Shorrocks and Williams. Good tackle from Darryl Powell on Jared Samet. Williams over the top. Bounces off Josh Charnley and runs getting goal. I think this is a goal line dropout, but the referee Ben Taylor wants Robert Hicks just to check.
Well, kicks on the third player there, George Williams. He's trying to set Morgan Escarade free. Probably need another bounce towards the sideline, and you can just see the kicks out for it. Comes off his left shin. Good call from the referee Ben Taylor.
Yes, it came off the knee. And I think he made a play at it, so it is a goal line dropout. Wigan's problems, you know, I'm sure it's a heck of a goal line. It's very easy to point fingers and all that sort of business, but do you know who their leading try scorer is?
Ben Flower.
Ben Flower.
Ben Flower on free, yeah.
Whoever would have thought that?
Are you saying they missed him? That's where the problems are.
I'm saying I wonder what's happened to them in attack. And the third time in the last 4 matches, Wigan have been reduced to 12 men at some stage in the game. Tolima Tautai, with a 3-match ban tonight, has been the sinner twice. Gildart. You hear that Blake Austin will be allowed to come back after he has passed his head test. Not just yet, though. Back to the corner, try in the corner for Tom Davis. Wigan do have hope. Not an hour on the watch. Shorrocks with the kick through, and Davis with the try.
On my word, they needed that. Obviously, Wigan gets them on the scoreboard. It might put some confidence in the ranks. Nice sweeping play. It took them an hour to string something like that together. Tom Davis, a willing worker in every game that he plays for Wigan. He's done a lot of work coming out of the backfield tonight, as he has done for most of the year. That's a beautiful kick by Shorrocks and a committed chase by the winger.
That was the best backline shift that they put on all night. All night, from one side of the pitch to the other. Clever little play from Shorrocks, wasn't it? Gets the right weight on it. Tom Davis is there to score the try.
Well, he might have been out of the scene for a while, Jake Shorrocks, but that's a very telling contribution. And Tom Davis Well, he gets his first try of the season in Super League. A try against the Roosters in the World Club Challenge, but that man, Shorrocks, a beautiful little kick through. Remember last week the way they got through for the only time against Huddersfield was a lovely kick through by Thomas Lulawa.
Yep, that set Morgan Escaray up. So they have got to try and break teams down, but at least in that case there was decent movement with the ball. Play by George Williams, Jared Samet, then Jake Shorrocks.
This goes over. Remember, they're down to 12 men. If this goes over, this will give them even more hope and encouragement. Just less than 20 minutes to go, and the gap will be 2 converted tries. Good kick. Excellent kick by Zach Hardacre. We're going to have hope. They trail 18-6, though.
Well, that will give them a bit more confidence, Eddie. George Williams, Jared Samet, Jake Shorrocks, and then the kick. Tom Davis called for that. He had the speed to get on the outside of deck pattern, and you can see it, like the celebration. It was more of a relief that they got over the try line. Something for Adrian Lamb and his side to build on.
Well, some of the Wigan supporters here might have memories going back to 2016 when Wigan were in a similar situation. They were behind by quite a few points. We're down to 12 men. Ben Flower off the field and came back to win. And if you remember that Anthony Galling scored a try towards the end and let loose with his 6-shooter underneath the post in front of the fans. It would be a miracle for them to do it. But in the final quarter, the Warriors are certainly going to give it everything they've got.
Yes, they're running with a bit more venom now. It was Oliver Partington who played the ball to Jake Shorrocks.
I also want to see how Warrington react here. They're up against the side now that's got a bit of a spring in the step.
And that was a great run in defence from Jared Samet.
Jared Samet, he's got a few of them in his locker. He'll throw his body into anything. He's not the biggest of players, but what he will do is he'll commit. I feel a little bit sorry for Jared Samet. I suspect when he was signed, it was to look after one of those substitute roles. There's a mistake from Warrington and come on and change again. Now he's being asked to start the game and manage it from the beginning.
Greenwood hangs on and takes the 0 tackle, so 6 to go for Wigan from here. George Williams. Shorrocks again.
Surrender!
No, it wasn't, beg your pardon, it was Oliver Partington. Tony Clubb. Williams rushes away from Murdoch Masilla's tackle. There are 2 players down in back play. Flat pass, Willie Isa. Wigan are on the way. Willie Isa for Wigan. 2 players left trailing behind. A collision off the ball, I think. Murdoch Masilla is one of them. I'm not sure who's gone down for Wigan, but the most important thing for the Warriors is that Willie Isa has scored the second Wigan try in 3 minutes, and they have hope. The Wigan fans have got hope.
Well, Willie Isa, I thought they did a tremendous amount of work last week, carrying the ball forward and defence. But George Williams, isn't it good to see when he gets his focus on the game, how good he is going across the line. He's looking for that weakness. Who's going to jump the line? He's always very good going back against the grain, stepping off his left foot, looking for someone to hit the line. Who's going to hit the line? Well, Willie Isa's going to hit the line and goes through, and haven't we got a game on now? The first 60 minutes, it was all about what Warrington were doing.
And now it's maybe all about what Wigan are doing, and they were involved in the first Super League Golden Point match a couple of weeks ago against Hull FC. Are they on the way to be involved in another one here? Because they're clawing their way back into the match, but Joe Greenwood has got problems.
Greenwood's okay. James Greenwood had a nasty injury, ACL out for the year. I hope his brother's okay.
Hardacre here to add the extras and put Wigan back to within a converted try. And suddenly the Warrington support has gone slightly quiet. The Wigan fans haven't. 18-12, 15 and a half to go.
It's what this game needed though, isn't it? Warrington have worked so hard to pump up and promote this match. They've got some new fans, some fans who haven't been for a while, and they're going to give them a thrilling finish. I suppose the Warrington sides wouldn't like it to be quite as close though. George Williams, he looks like the Wigan legend. Andy Gregory bouncing across the field, just looking for an option runner. And the timing of the run from Willie Isa is perfect. In front of his home fans, Both the Wigan and the Warrington supporters are lifting, and Joe Greenwood limps back into position. A tough final 15 minutes if he's got it in him.
It looked like when Ben Murdoch-Masilla attempted to make that tackle, his body swung round and sent the knee back against the joint. Hyperextending the knee, but he's going to have a goal. Bravery and courage on show.
Absolutely, and the physio is not too far away from him. He's out here on this left wing for Wigan. Oh, and the kick-off is deep. So here come the Wigan side yet again.
He's not afraid of who's in front of him, is he, Partington?
No, he's only 20, former England Youth International.
What have
Late
Warrington
call to
got?
arms when Flower dropped out.
Sorry, Eddie. What have Warrington got when they're under pressure? They have to react now. They have to come back. Here we go.
It's Atkins. Atkins has the ball back for Warrington. Clark gives it to Cooper. Watch Warrington's response to those 2 tries in 3 minutes.
Where's Blake Austin?
There he is.
Straight into Tony Club's hip then.
Yeah, and it looked like that might hit him on the top of the head. He gets up, little tough nut.
And Tony Club just patted him on the head.
Nice when you get hold of an half-back as a front rower, Eddie.
Patton, good hands from Stephen Ratchford to Atkins again.
That's good defence and Sargentson to stop him.
Mamo finds Patton. Here is Clark. This is Hughes. Short ball to Hill. He was looking for support. It wasn't there. Last one coming up for Warrington. Drop goal attempt. And he's kicked it. That makes it a 2-score lead again. 19-12.
Well, Beck Patton, because of the injury to Ashudo, gets Kevin Brown. He gets more game time this year. Nice and controlled, strikes it well.
Well, he came on in the last 14 minutes of the grand final at about this point in the match, but he couldn't have a significant influence. Here's the strip there where the ball's taken. Now then.
Well, there's 2 in the tackle initially, isn't there? But 1 falls off, and so it then becomes a one-on-one ball steal. So correct to play on.
I know there's a long way to go in this game, but I asked the question today, how are Warrington going to react? Can they match the physicality and enthusiasm that Wigan showed? Well, what they did is they tried to outthink their opponents. They've calmly, coolly just nudged that 1 point, that drop goal over, edged them further out in front.
It just takes a little bit of steam out.
It just shows that they can think under pressure, they're cool and calm, and that ends up being a penalty against Oliver Partington there.
They haven't found touch. They haven't found touch, Warrington. Hardaker saw it and head after it, put the foot on it, put it back.
And he could have just given up on that play as well then, Zach Hardaker. But he was switched onto that kick where it was going and kept it in the field of play.
Let's get down to Bill.
I don't think Joe Greenwood wanted to miss out on what could be a thrilling conclusion to this game. That's why he stayed on. But eventually the physios have prevailed, and he is hobbled off for Wigan, and Romain Navarrete has come back onto the field.
And the referee has spotted something with the help of his touch judge on this near side.
Look at the celebrations. Look at the celebrations. Blake Austin, we've talked about his size and his physical presence. 100 kgs, 15.5 stone, along with Ben Murdoch-Masilla. Get the shoulders into Gabe Hamlin, and the mistake is made.
Oh, 16-12 now at Headingley. Wakefield winning at Hull. Warrington winning at home to Wigan, courtesy of a 7-point lead and Patton's first drop goal for Warrington in 2 years. It might be a vital 1 point as well. Here is Chan. Solid run from him. He puts Scully Ice on his backside.
You know, he's powerful, isn't he? And then Darryl Clark just trying to run a penalty on the referee, but he's not having any of it.
Well, he was asking and inquiring whether Wigan was standing square at the play the ball, and Ben Taylor says they were. Ferry goes down, tackle number 3. Then the referee shouts at Wigan, markers square. Here is Hill. Solid work from the skipper there. Play the ball to Clark. Austin back on the inside to Ratchford. Ratchford brought down tackle number 5.
Ben Navarrete could have given a penalty away, then hand in the face of Stefan Ratchford.
Patton once more. Kick to the side. Arm back by Mamu. Knock on by Mamu. Turnover.
Well, still just 7 metres from the line already. It's really difficult here now for Wigan. Mistake from Mamo. Zakada playing the ball. What have they got here now? Dan Sargentson trying to use his speed, his footwork, but he can't get past that defensive wall in Cooper and Hill.
It's Williams again.
Not a lover of that play then. Navarrete tips the ball onto his half-back. Look at him, he's turning around, screaming at him. Get us forward.
Gildart will do that.
Good recovery from Gildart. Looked like he was going backwards at one point. Who's stepping forward for Wigan?
Hamlin is at the moment. Here's Shorrocks. Gives it to Samet. Samet gives it wide and finds Isa. Here is Sargentson, skips away from Atkins. Flicks the pass out the back door. Davis, got to go to ground, otherwise he'll be pushed over the line.
Play ball.
Last tackle coming up here for Wigan, or a misplaced pass. Hardaker. Hardaker still. Oh, and he gives the ball to Chris Hill.
Chris Hill.
Referee said Chris Hill has knocked it on.
Well, he just finds himself in the middle of all those Wigan players. The offload from Zach Hardaker. Romain Navarrete pulls out of it. And there it is, the little fumble.
Oh, only just as well. I think he might claim to have positioned himself, not found himself in the right place at the right time, but fine balance here in this game.
That's an escape for Wigan. A real escape. I'm not saying Chris Hill would have gone 40 yards to score, but...
Saying he would have been caught then.
He might have been caught, but there'd have been plenty coming up, I'm sure, in support.
But he was messy on the last tackle. Composure is needed in those key moments.
Oh, look at that score, Eddie.
London have hit the front at Leeds again, 18-16. That, you know, that just might keep them up. Who thought after 6 rounds they'd have 6 points? The London Broncos, seriously.
Tremendous job.
Didn't. Danny Warder said, exceptional coach, great team spirit in his squad. Team spirit shown there by Jason Clark.
Crossfield kick here, looking for the big man out wide. He nearly found them, but it was Jake Mamo who got up above everybody else.
He's claiming he was tackled in the air.
He's every right to go for that ball, hasn't he, Tom Davis?
He's claiming. It's a desperate claim. I'm not saying he's right, Tez, but arm around both players, attempting to
it's a contest,
get hold of that ball.
It's a contest, both trying for the ball. You see Davis is always up around the ball and not the body.
I'm told it's Will Lovell's try for the London Broncos.
Pressure building here.
That has beaten the Leeds Rhinos. 18 points to 16. London have gone to Headingley. Danny Ward's gone home to Leeds and has come away with both points.
A massive result,
what
isn't
a
it?
dramatic
No one gave him a chance last year in the £1 million game, did they?
We can see those tries, can't we, after this match later tonight.
And it's only the 5th win for London in 25 visits to Leeds.
Big,
wow.
Big win.
Massive.
Wait. Go.
Shorrocks. Samet. Short ball, but Cooper and Jason Clark stopped them in the tracks. Here is Williams again, playing a greater growing influence on this match. Stabs the ball to the in-goal area. Picked up behind his own line by Toby King, who gets absolutely clattered, and Warrington didn't like it. They had a goal with the Isa. They're still having a goal with the Isa.
Here we go. Here's the bad blood. Well, there was a heavy challenge from Willie Isa when Toby King is tackled behind the line. And all the team are in now.
And young Oliver Partington's in the middle of all that as well. He was picking out Ben Westwood straight away. Again, these youngsters won't fear the reputation of some of these bigger players, and there's a problem. Still on the ground.
Toby King. Yeah, Toby King. It was a collision, definitely. And Warrington took exception to it. Well, this is something for Ben Thaler to sort out. Good job, he's an experienced official.
He does his best to get out of the in-goal. Quality tackle from Ben Sammet. And Willie Isa is doing his best to make that tackle, but it ends up, it looks ugly, and then everybody comes together.
Well, it's Dick Patton who comes in and pushes Willie Isa. That's what starts everything off.
I think Ben Westwood might even use his head here, but I don't know how many times you get to watch this, whether the referee makes a decision without watching several replays, but...
Well, I think this is okay on Willie Isa.
Well, Stuart, let's have a completely impartial view.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with the initial tackle on from Isa. But there might be other things that they want to pick up on after this.
Yeah, I agree.
Isn't there a rule that if you run in,
well, there is.
They all dismissal, but they all ran in.
Yeah, they said at the start of the year they were going to deal with players who run in.
That'd be Dick Patton. He was the first person who was in. He's the one who got involved and pushed Willie Isa to the ground. There it is, there's the push. Then he steps back. Then all of a sudden, everyone comes in. Dick Patton's the player with the number 15 jersey on. Tony Clubb's got hold of him, and then it all starts behind. And you can see Barry Westwood on Morgan Escaray. And that's where the youngster Oliver Parton took exception to that.
Well, he's taking the report from the video ref. I wonder what Robert Hicks has said in the ear of Ben Thaler and what decision, what action we will get from this.
Which is Willie! You're in the bin! In the bin!
Willie Isa is in the bin.
Go in the bin!
For 10.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is a red that follows.
Well, that's the first thing dealt with.
You're all going in the bin.
And another one's in the bin.
Yeah, Dick Patton.
Dick Patton's in the bin.
He's the first man in.
Here we go.
And Ben Westwood is being called out. The yellow card's gone in the pocket, and Westwood is sent off.
And you could see the resignation when Ben Westwood watched the replay. He knew that was coming.
Yeah, he realised straight away, didn't he?
Well, he's a very experienced player, is Ben Westwood, at 37 years of age.
Plays right on the edge, right on the line.
But he knows when we're here, there's so many cameras around this ground, they get away with nothing.
Well, that drop goal's looking even more important now, Eddie. We've got just over 6 minutes to go, and it's 7 points, not 6 points to lead. Because Wigan here in an attacking position, if they get this penalty, we'll be very close to going to 18-all.
I mean, no excusing the headbutt or trying to talk it away, but there is a clash. There is. I think it's Morgan Escaray who catches with the elbow.
Oh, there was more people behind. Let's sort it out. Get it started, Tony. All right.
That's a red card. Ben Westwood should not do that. And we might see when we watch it again, there's a clash.
To Warrington for the
contact with the head.
Contact with the head by
contact with the head from Willie Isa.
He's in the bin.
That's why he's in the bin.
This hasn't finished. This who wants it's Ryan Atkins.
You've got to be brave to cart it forward. First tackle after all of that.
Yeah.
How many's on each side now?
Well, 11 for Warrington, 11. And that means there should be more space.
Shorrock's on Clark.
There's not much space at the minute, Phil.
There isn't. Austin gets it away to Jason Clark. So it's 12 for Wigan, 11 for Warrington.
Yeah.
And that's how it'll stay till the end of the match. Tommy Lulawai went in very low then on Mike Cooper, third man in. Hughes. Straight into the chest of Tony Clubb.
Well, this ball needs to go over the sideline now. Last tackle. Get your team to form the scrum and slow it down. That's what he's trying to do, Blake Austin.
That's exactly what he did do.
Well, Josh Charnley wanted to keep it in play, didn't he?
Shot clock's on.
Well, Wigan will rush to the scrum, surely. The shot clock will be on.
Well, he's under some pressure, Blake Austin, then from Tony Clubb. Josh Charnley seems to keep on playing.
So Warrington have got to put 4 players out in this scrum. That's the rules now. They'd have to put 4 men in it.
That's right, four players. They can't have more than 7 backs. That's the law.
Well, it's a big last 4.5 minutes.
No. Wait, I'll tell you, let's bang!
So Stefan Ratchford's the back row on himself.
Here is Sargentson. Shorrocks gets the ball away. Davis will play the ball here. Sargentson, he's had a spell of the sin bin himself. Tidy play the ball.
Could have been pinged for that as well.
Here comes Hamlin. Now Williams, does he have the key for Wigan, or is it Luluai, or is it Hamlin again? It's been a long bursting match this that's gone on for 76 minutes, and here goes Gildart. Over the top it goes from Gildart. Escarate picks it up, and Ratchford does really well.
Again, good hunting defence from Warrington on the last play.
And that's the turnover again, another sloppy end to a set from Wigan at this stage of the campaign.
Yeah, well, they're looking to try and break Warrington down, but it's very difficult to break them down when they've got the attitude like they have, the way they're defending, the way they turn up for each other. The Wigan players now shooting out the line, trying to even up some scores.
Warrington fans think they've got it wrong. It's Toby King. This is Darrell Clark. Punishing run down the middle again from Clark.
He's been great. He's been fantastic in this game.
He's after a penalty. He's got a penalty. He has got a penalty because Jake Shorrocks was in the run.
Well, he just can't get outside of that ruck earlier. It's caught on the wrong side. Darrell Clark knows he's behind. Gets up, plays the ball, earns a penalty.
Well, Wakefield 32-12 up at Hull FC. The big story of the night. London have beaten Leeds. And just a bigger story here. Warrington are 2.5 minutes away from a victory against Wigan. And they've got Ben Westwood sent off, and both sides have had a man in the sin bin. So it's 11 of Warrington against 12 of Wigan. And there's a couple of incidents on report will be looked at during the course of the week as Philbin takes it forward again. Here's Blake Austin. Had a big say in this match, despite the fact that he was off with what looked like concussion. So is this fella. Ben Curry. Warrington at the right end as far as they're concerned. As Clark gives it to Jack Hughes, the 11th man of Warrington will win it. Jack Hughes, irony of irony, against his former club, and he's won the match for the Warrington Wolves. It's a game that's had just about everything tonight, and Hughes has put the icing on the cake.
Well, it doesn't have to be a big play, does it? Look at that, you can see that he's setting his line. He gets a weak inside shoulder. I think it's young Oliver Partington who tries to affect the tackle, but he's already picked his line, and he won't be stopped from that distance, Jack Hughes. He's had a good game against his former club, hasn't he? He can spot some space behind the ruck, gets a one-on-one with the youngster and scores the try.
Well, it was a forward pass that denied Jack Hughes in the first half. And on goal line defence, it's so important that you're all on the same page. I think it was just outside George Williams. He was the man that shot up. Partington wasn't on the same page. He hung back ever so slightly. And Jack Hughes, he's had a good game along with everybody in a primrose and blue shirt.
Yes, he has. And he's
gets to put his arms up and celebrate.
Second try in 2 weeks. Half a minute to go. The Ratchford conversion will surely seal this match 100%. There's no chance for Wigan to come back. Jack Hughes' try sorted out. Wolfie again in the background, showing Stephen Ratchford how it should be done.
Looks like he's got a ferret on the lead there at the back.
Ratchford adds the extras. And so with less than half a minute to go, Terry O'Connor's going to announce the Betfred man of the match.
Well, there's been some good showings in a Warrington shirt. Stephen Ratchford, that man. Ben Curry as well, good to see him at his best. But Darrell Clark, I think he's been inspirational to everything around him. He's been a true credit to the team, kept his composure. And he's gone a long way to getting these valuable points for Warrington.
Yes, 2 valuable points. Warrington fans cruelly chanting at the Wigan fans as they did at the start. going down, going down.
Well, I will say, Eddie, this could be Warrington's year. I said that to my friend who's a big Warrington fan.
Yeah, lovely friend.
He has, he's got one. It pays me a lot of money, but in response to that, the Wigan fans said, it's always your year, just like the last one, it's always your year.
Well,
See who wins.
it is their night tonight, there's no question about that. Warrington really, apart from those 2 tries in 3 minutes in the second half from the Wigan Warriors, they bossed this match from the start. It's 5 defeats in a row for Wigan now, including the World Club Challenge. And for Warrington, a 100% home record is maintained. It's 4 wins from their 4 games on this ground, and you never know. You never know. 2019, you're right, Terry, could be Warrington's year.
They just look good across the board, and you said before, they've recruited well, they've got a well-balanced side, they've got players that have been in the system for a long time, they've got a very good coach in Steve Price, and right the way through the cup, you turn up to a game and watch them on Sky Sports, and it's like going to an event. I think Carl Fitzpatrick, who's the CEO of the club, really does get behind it. He makes it into a community club, the fans turn up, and everyone enjoys the occasion, and especially the way that they're playing like they are, I think tremendous.
And in terms of Wigan, plenty to work on. For an hour they were outplayed and outclassed by this Warrington side, but they found something. The game was gone, they found something, and in George Williams they have that spark, they have that player that can make things happen, but he needs the players outside him, inside him, around him to react in the right way.
Well, disappointment for the Wigan Warriors, delight for the Warrington Wolves, who have also produced the Betfred man of the match. Here he is, Darryl Clark with Bill.
Thanks, Eddie. Darryl, congratulations on a man of the match performance. That game had everything. Blood-curdling at times, commitment from both sides. It lived up to expectations, didn't it?
Yeah, no, it's always a tough game against Wigan, even though the form's not been great at the start of the year. We were expecting the best from Wigan, and I think they showed a lot of improvements tonight, and I think we were just better on the night, and we stuck in there and managed to get the win.
You led from the front, you made masses of yards. Sometimes you were possibly looking around for a bit of support.
Yeah, there was 10 minutes in that first half where I kind of run myself out a little bit. Yeah, probably next time we'll step it on and mix it up a little bit, but yeah, it's good. Our forwards getting a lot of offloads at the minute, and I'm enjoying it, so yeah, it's all good.
And to win against Wigan, I mean, you knew they were coming here really trying to get their season on track. It was a big challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, I said the form's not been the best at the start of the year, but we're a desperate side today, good side, and we knew that they were going to come here to win tonight, and we fronted up pretty well for most of the game, and deserved the 2 points, I think.
And we've seen maybe another side of Warrington this season. When it gets a bit feisty, you're in it.
Yeah, 18-0, but probably shut up shop a little bit, which is pretty stupid from us. But yeah, we've come at us there, that second half, and we stuck in it, and managed to sneak a try at the end just to put it to bed. So yeah, pretty good all-round performance.
Well done, Darryl. Cheque for a charity of your choice as well for £250.
I'll give it to the Warrington Foundation.
Man of the match, Darryl Clark. Thomas Luluwai joins us to get a Wigan viewpoint. Tommy, if people were looking for evidence of spirit in the Wigan camp, I think we saw it tonight.
Yeah, I think we did. It's pretty tough after a loss like that to say that, but yeah, there's a lot of desire there, a lot of effort, but at the moment it's just not happening for us.
And if it had happened just at one point in that game, until they put that 1 point over, really, you really had them rocking.
Yeah, I thought we competed, pretty well at the start too. I know it wasn't pretty at times, but I think when you're in these situations, all you can ask for is a bit of effort, and hopefully things turn for you. But look, we've got a bunch of boys there that are trying really hard. A bit unusual for us to be in a situation, but Warrington played some good football at times, and we're just too good for us.
What's going to make the difference for Wigan?
Just keep working hard. Like I said, if we didn't have the effort or the desire there, I'd be a bit more worried. But I've been in these situations before. I've been playing for a long time. As long as you have that, we'll hang in there and things will turn. But I've got to take credit to Warrington. They're too good for us tonight.
We had a minute's silence before the game because of events in Christchurch, and I know that'll be on your mind tonight.
Yeah, look, I was very shocked this morning when I woke up and heard the news. tough. A place like New Zealand, we never expect stuff like that to happen. So, you know, for me, just sending our best wishes and prayers back to the people back there in Christchurch. And that's a sad time, mate. But yeah, definitely some, you know, sad reading news.
Thanks for talking to us.
No worries, Tom.
Let's hear from Adrian Lamb now, Wigan's coach. Tommy Lulai has just said, if people are questioning the spirit in the camp, maybe point proved tonight.
Yeah, I was really proud about that effort. You know, I thought I had a couple of decisions going our way, especially crucial ones, especially that one at the end there with where we tackle them in goal, turn the game around. But plenty of spirit, plenty of passion, plenty of pride tonight. So I feel like, you know, after a couple of sets defensively in our line, one man down, I was looking for some sort of change in our game to show that, you know, we were back, and I felt that tonight's the night.
Cutting edge is maybe what you're lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a couple of times we got down the other end there and had the ball, and of all the training we've done, and our execution of training has been outstanding, and we're making mistakes in that area there. So we can fix that area. I was more concerned the last couple of weeks about our energy and our effort on effort and our desire, and tonight that was there without a doubt. And I know in my heart, and I know in all our supporters, that's a turning point right there.
Is it anxiety then? Are people snatching at chances?
I think there's a little bit of frustration, you know, because like I said, everyone's positive at training. You know, we've been training really well, and like I said, I'm just going to go back to that point where I wanted to see a different team with their desire, and tonight I felt that was there. And you know, I think that's the turning point of the season.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.
Finally, Steve Price, Warrington's coach, maybe breathing a sigh of relief because it was a good comeback.
Yeah, we always knew that. You know, 6 weeks ago they were playing the World Cup Championship against the Roosters, and you know it was game on to 72 minutes, and they're a good football team. They're hard nosed and they understand what it takes to win big games. And you know they've been out a bit of form, but they had a red hot crack tonight. And I thought we made it a little bit hard for ourselves throughout the night. I thought we could have went 24-0 up with that drop ball, and you know we could have shut the game out. But yeah, I was overall pleased with a lot of our defensive attitude tonight.
James Roby's getting great raps for what he's done for St Helens this season, but I think we saw Darryl Clark run him close tonight.
Yeah, he's been great for us, since the start of the season. He's regularly in that type of displays. He's, I love having him in our football club, and it just shows the performance he dished up tonight. And I thought Steph Ratchford, Jace Clark, they had some really big moments throughout the game. I was really pleased with, especially those three.
Do you think you could have made more of what Darryl was doing? Because there were times he was off on his own.
Yeah, we were creating opportunities. We'd generate some speed through the middle third, and didn't quite capitalise. I think straight after half-time, first set, Steph Ratchford went through and went the long ball to Charters. But, it's only early in the season. Boys are doing a lot of good things, and we'll just keep building.
I think this lived up to expectations, didn't it? Bad blood just about had everything.
Yeah, that's right. Few punches thrown, bit of everything. So, we're expecting a brutal game tonight, and we got a hard, tough game. So, local derby, expect nothing different.
And Benny Westwood, red card. Any argument with that?
Couldn't really see it from where I was. I was on the sideline, so I'll have to review it tomorrow morning.
But we've seen Warrington just give everything tonight, haven't we? We've seen, class, skill, a bit of feistiness, a bit of flair. You've got it all here.
Yeah, had a bit of everything tonight. So
you enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, I'm sure all the supporters enjoyed it tonight. So local derby, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Thanks, Steve.
Cheers, Bill.
Congratulations to Steve Price and the Warrington Wolves' 5th win of the season for that man. Halliwell Jones was homing tonight. Here's a confirmation of the result, 25 points to 12. 12-0 lead for the Warrington Wolves at half-time. Wigan roared back in that second half. Adrian Lamb has cited that now as the turning point for their season, though they go home defeated. Match stats. Possession 56% in favour of the home side, and they made hay with that. 10 tackles missed with Wigan's 17. Not much chance between those in handling errors. Well, the Wigan Warriors are the side that came here with the pressure on them, but halfway through that second half, they turned the pressure on the Warrington Wolves. What looked at one stage like being a comfortable home victory suddenly looked less likely. The Warrington Wolves, though, had enough in the end. Let's hear how they felt the game unfolded. We get John Wells as game breaker, and he's going to do it all in the company of Blake Austin, the Warrington Wolves star. John.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Blake, welcome to the touchscreen, first time this season. We're going to get straight into the game breaker then, because I'm going to get your opinion. Normally we do this and chuck back up to the studio, but since you're here, just a comment, if you would, please, on the influence of that man today. He won the man of the match. How important is he as a vehicle for moving you forward off the back of these offloads?
Yeah, I think, James Roby's obviously got a lot of plaudits this year for his work. I think Daryl's in a bit of a different mould. He's such an integral part of our team. You've only got to look at how often he jumps out of dummy half. I think we can all improve and sort of getting on the wave and giving him more options. But, I think Daryl's certainly the form hooker of the competition.
Yeah, and he's been doing this for a long, long time. It's one thing knowing that he's going to do it. It's another thing being able to defend it. He's deceptively fast, isn't he?
Yeah, he's real quick, and he gets out, and he's got a slightly different running game to a lot of other hookers. He runs like a bit of a back rower at times. He's got a great left and right foot step. So, Daryl's having a really, really good season, and he's playing a big part in our wins. Yeah.
5 from 6. Very, very pleasant start to the season for you. Good start to life as a Wolf in the UK. Initial reaction on the win?
Yeah, personally, I'm certainly still finding my feet. It's about sort of learning what the game's about over here. There's not many games that I've been fully sort of happy with, but 5 from 6, I think it is. We'll take that, and it's not about peaking at this time of year. I think there's a bit of fixation in this competition. I'm putting a lot of points on, but I think in the long run, these sort of slightly tighter matches are going to hold us in good stead.
So I'll take you to the first clip that I wanted to ask for your comment on it, and it starts in familiar territory. We've just shown you Darrell Clark, the game breaker. Offload game, it seems to be a natural part of this Warrington Wolves outfit. It's not something that's forced, it's something that happens organically. But then this guy's just phenomenal off the back of it. There's the building play here is I think what set you aside from Wigan today. The meters you were taking off, the double efforts you were requesting from this Wigan Warriors defence was pretty extraordinary. I want to ask for your input now on what's going on here. So you're just about to start the play, you're sat down here, what's the communication been like? What are you looking for?
I think, it starts with these 3 middles here. I think, over the pre-season we were very vocal that we were going to need the middles to play a role in our good ball attack. And, whether they've played an integral part in the past, I'm not sure. But, we certainly need them to be playing a role. And, when the big boys are running into the line sort of at pace and genuine options, I think, it's got to make the defence accountable, and it certainly makes for a lot more space on the edge.
Yeah, this line in particular from Cooper. There's another one later on from Ben Curry as well. What effect does that have? Brian Carney asked Kevin Brown this in studio before the game. What positive effect does that have on playmakers like yourself when you've got great line runners? How much more time does it buy you? What more options does it give you? Yeah,
certainly a lot more time. You look at Benny Westwood here. He's obviously got O'Loughlin in his sights, but he's sort of held up William Isa a little bit longer than what William Isa would have liked, which then makes the half panic and hold longer than what he should, and subsequently gives me a little bit of extra time out the back, which, I think our bread and butter in these plays is to make sure we take the right options, and it was a great finish from Jake. Sorry.
And there's a late adjustment there from you, because I think originally you were looking for Ryan Atkins. You've seen this, and that, I guess again it's a result of the time that's been bought for you by these forwards.
Yeah, and once we received the ball out the back, we got a quick decision to decide what the half's done. Obviously, the middle's done a great job, and Jared Zemmett sort of held up a little bit longer than what he probably should have, and created space, and probably panicked Escray as well in the end to come in a little.
So that took you out to 4-0. Stephen Ratchford then got on the scoreboard on the 13-minute mark, on the half-hour mark. I'm going to use this clip to talk to you and ask you about Ben Curry, the returning Ben Curry. I think he's 2 or 3 games back now. You're aware of his backstory and the length of time he's been out. How pleased are you that he's there showing what he can do?
I think, just seeing him in these moments in the game, just seeing a big smile on his face, that's the most pleasing thing. He's never sort of rattled on the field. I think that, with the path that he's travelled, he's just loving being out there, and we're loving having him. You've seen some of the things he's done tonight. He got held up pretty early. Then that was a great line that he ran and carried the fullback over the line. And then what he done off that tap, it's you can't teach that kind of stuff. And if Darrell's been our best player, Steph's a very close second and playing really well as well. And you know, it's not his job to push up off a tap like that, but that's what the good players do. They put themselves in the right spots, and it's such a big try at that moment.
This predates your time with the Warrington Wolves, but they've done this before. The combination between Curry and Ratchford from a tap. I remember a Magic Weekend a couple of years ago. It was almost like the opposite of this. Had Curry coming back and then finding, but it's this line as well. And this is what impresses me so much. It's the little stuff that you don't notice. This line in here really holds and drags in. Thomas Uluwai is obviously now committed to Ben Curry, but the line here is particularly impressive. Just opens up that space. And an outstanding finish. And the question I've got for you, really, I mean, it's you are a key import and a key addition to this Warrington Wolves outfit. We've understood a little bit about how that relationship works now with Dec Patton. I want you to comment on, if you would, on Stefan Ratchford. How's that relationship going with you two? Because you're similar players.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think early on I sort of, you know, I had things backwards a little bit. I think it took me a few weeks to realise that I had to be a bit more of a controlling influence on the team. I think my kicking game's really stepped up in the last few weeks, and I'm really pleased with how that's travelling. So I think while my defence is strong and I can move the team around the park, my running game will slowly come in. It's certainly a long way off where I want it to be, but you know, I think, you know, for this team it's important that I you know, leave my mark and make sure I guide the boys around.
You mentioned just quickly finally that there's still plenty of improvement left in this Warrington Wolves outfit. That's a scary thought for us looking on, because that looks like a pretty complete outfit.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think there's a long way. There's, you know, obviously, as I said, the fans are probably going to want a few more points at some stages, but I think we're defending quite well. We've had one or two lapses in games, but overall we're defending quite well, and that's what wins big games at the end of the season, and that's certainly what we're building before. I think, speaking of Price, he wasn't quite happy with moments in that last 20 minutes, but you know, in a derby like that, it's certainly going to get tough, and you know, we hung tough and come away with a win. So we notched another win, and we'll move on to next week.
Good stuff. You build it as bad blood. That's your fault. Hey, blame the club for that one.
Fitzy's out to get us killed, mate. But you know, I've got to give them a rap too. They're doing their best to really